So let's start with this data tools today. Data tools are a kind of tools which will help me in working on the data. Say for example, I'll be having say multiple sheets. Then I want to consolidate those data, aggregate it and put it into one sheet. So in that case, I'll be using this data consolidation. Sometimes what will happen, I'll have a huge data wherein I need to separate the data or say, split the data in some, the means. So in that case, either I have to write a formula or I can actually use this flash fill, which is, I cannot say it is the latest version, but it is right from 2010 and above. Then I have this grouping and outline where I can group or aggregate the data and text to columns. Anyways, if I have the say data in txt files or csv files, how will I move to say Excel file and then get the data? So first we'll go with this data consolidation. So here, let me open this file. So I have say data in different regions and I want to consolidate, aggregate it and put it into one sheet. So that's what we'll be doing in this data consolidation. Okay. So if you see this data, I have north, south, east, west. That means 4 regions with 4 quarters and total of it. Now I want all these 4 say regions data to be consolidated and put it into this sheet. So for this, what I'll be doing is here I'll go to this data tab and here I have data tools. So here I have these tools which will help me in consolidating these 4 sheets, say the data of different regions, and consolidate here. Click anywhere in this sheet. So it need not be like, you have to specifically select some row or say column or address. Just I'll select one cell. Now if I go here we have something called as data consolidation, that is consolidate. Let me just click on this. When I click on this, I'll get one window like this. A very few options here, very simple options. The first one, it will ask for the function. Functions are nothing but how will I aggregate it, say sum, count, average, whatever. Let me say sum. Next one is the reference. The reference is nothing but from where I'm actually referring the data. Let's say I want all these 4 sheets to be consolidated. I'll click on this range picker and then I'll select the sheet. I'll select the entire table, control shift right arrow down arrow, then I'll say add. That means this reference has been added. Let's go to the second sheet. Here let me select the second region. I'll say add. So similarly I'll do for all the other regions. Say add. Say west. I'll say add. Alright, that means whatever data I need to consolidate, I have added here. Now I need to select this headings. If I go and see this, it says top row. That means I want the heading here, and the left column, that is the heading. These headings, the row headings. Let me select this top row and left column. I'll say OK. So the data will be consolidated, and I'll get the result like this. This is for sum. Now let's say I want average. Now for average, I don't have to again go and do all this process right from beginning. So I'll just go here, I'll click on this. I just have to change this function, that's it, average. Because already I have taken the reference, I'll say OK, then I'll get this reference, means this average. So I can do the same thing for any of these functions here. Let's say minimum, I'll just go here, say OK, I'll get the minimum value of the range what I've selected. This is for aggregating the values and getting in one table of all the regions or say all the sheets what I've selected. Apart from this, let me just clear this data. I will select A1, the first cell of the sheet, that is A1, this address, say A1. So I'll go here, consolidate. Now, after I select all this, there is something called as create links to source data. If I click on this, what will happen is there will be a link between all these sheets. But otherwise, let me just say OK without this link. If you go and check this, I'll not have any link. It will be like just calculated values and it will give me the values only, not the formulas. Now anything gets changed here in this data that will not reflect here unless and until you create it again. Now, let me show you again. So what I was trying to tell you is, let's say I'll use this sum and I'll say okay. So I got the result here. Now if you go and check this, if I do any changes here, let me just delete this. So I don't have any impact in this table because this, once it comes, it will give me the final result here, that is by giving all the consolidated values. Now if you want this updated result, again I'll go here, say okay, then I'll get this updated result. So here you don't have anything called as refresh. So what will happen is, if I want something, I'll go here and again I'll create this, right? Let me delete this. In here let me say Control Z so that I'll get back that data, right? Now here, since it doesn't have any links, now what I'll do is I'll go and I'll select A1. I'll tell you why I should select this A1. I will select and say create links to the source data. I'll say okay. When I say okay, again I'll get the consolidated result. But here what will happen is, if you go and click on this cell, I can see the links here. Now let me go and delete this data and let's come back and see here. You can see the result here. Now what this links will do is, it will group. If you see here, it says the first level here, which is of the regions. Let me click on the second level. It will expand like this. This will be very useful when you are trying to consolidate, or say when you are trying to append data from different sheets. Let's say I have 4 different regions. I just consolidate here. Now what I'll do is I'll go here. I can copy this east. Say I can paste it from here till here. So some easiest way of appending the data one below the other. Now I'll go here. I'll have this north. I can select from here till here. Say north. Say control. So this way also I can actually append it, or I can use it for, say, to get the consolidated results like this. So two ways I can do. One is the hard coded value, that is directly it will copy and it will create the say what is that consolidated data without any links. Otherwise you can go and you can take these links. Why I choose A1 is, suppose if I'm not choosing this A1, so what will happen is, let me just go here. Let me just remove all these groups. Just select this. I'm just trying to remove all the groups and I'll show you data clear outline. Okay. I just clear the outline. So if suppose if I'm not selecting this A1, if I'm selecting somewhere here, and still I can do this consolidation. See, now what will happen is the grouping will happen from here. So now if I click on this, so I'll have the grouping somewhere in the middle. So just to show you guys, I just took it in A1 so that it will be easy for me to explain, and also you can understand it easily. So this is data consolidation. Consolidation means you're trying to aggregate the values of different sheets and then get the value in one place. So this is something like our pivot table, but not a separate table, but this is like consolidated data, what it will consolidate and give it in a separate sheet. But make sure that if you are trying to consolidate in a sheet, you have to create all the consolidations, the reference in that sheet itself. Now, suppose if I go to any other sheet, I'll not get that. So this is one thing which you should actually keep in mind. Fine. Next one is the flash fill. Let's go here. I'll say flash fill. Flash fill means it is just filling the data. That's it. So as I told you in the beginning, suppose if you want to extract some data or say split some data, so I can easily do it. So how this flash fill will work, I'll show you. Let's go to this data. Here I have this flash fill. So the shortcut key is Control E. So you can use Control E as well. So how this will work? Let's say I have this sales rep name. I'll say James. Now when I say James, I'll click on this flash fill. Just click on this. See, I just typed only first name, and if I click on this, see, it will give me the first name. Right. Now I have applied the flash fill on these say rows or say cells. I'll go here, I'll give the second name, enter. It will automatically give me the second name. Right, let me take this initial, say J, K, and say enter. It will automatically take the initials what I've given. Not only for this column, any column which are attached to this. Say for example West, I'll say WE, 2 characters, enter. So I'll get all the 2 characters of the regions here. Suppose if you scroll down and check, see, it will give me the first 2 characters. Let's say lightsabers, I'll say LS. See, it will give me these values. Enterprise, I'll say ENT. See, so I can give any characters here within this table, and then I can get the data here. That is, it will just fill the say data. Next one, even numbers also it can take, say 16 and say enter. See, it is taking only 2 numbers from the number column. But keep in mind, let me just remove this column. I'll go here. Now if I give James, and here if I say flash fill, it will not work. So always the data should be attached to this table here. So this is flash fill. Next one is grouping and outline. This grouping and outline, we saw this in our consolidation where it was grouping and it was giving me a plus mark here. That is called as grouping. So let's say I want to group. So while grouping, you should also keep in mind that the data has to be sorted. Let's say I have sorted this region column. I'll go to this data. Here I have something called a subtotal. Let me click on this subtotal. I'll get a similar kind of window like what we have for data consolidation. Here it will ask for which column to be grouped. This is for grouping column. I can select any of this, so I'll select region here. Next one is aggregating column. That is on which column I need to do the function. Let's say I'll take this sum. Means this is the function. So here I'll be selecting the column on which the aggregating function which I've selected here will be applied. Now let's say sales. Region is the grouping column. Sum is the function. Sales is the column on which I am applying this function. I will say OK. And if you can see this, now I got this level, say 1. If I click on this one, it will give me the final level, that is the grand total. Let me click on this 2. Now I'll get this grouping of the column which I've selected. So I had selected region. Here I'm getting all the aggregated values, that is for each region what is the aggregated value. Now let me click on this 3. It will give me the complete data what we have. So what will happen here is it will automatically give me one extra row after all these common values. That's why I told it should be sorted. Now what will happen if I'm not sorting? Let me just go back to the original data. Let's see if I'm not sorting the column, what will happen. I'll select this, go to this subtotal. Now let me select product. I've not sorted the column. Now I'll say function sum on sales column. I'll say OK. Now if you go and check this, let me just go on top. I'll click on this 1. So I'll get this grand total. Now the grouping has been done on product. Let me click on this 2. If you see this, see, there are 3 products, but they are repeating again and again. They're not grouped properly. The reason is the column is not sorted. Let me again go back to the data. Right. Let me select this. I will sort it. Now I'll select product and I'll say OK. Now this product column is sorted. Now let me go here, say subtotal, and I'll select this product. Sum as the function. sales as the column to be aggregated. I'll say okay. And now if you go and check this, say first level is a grand total. Second level, if you see, it is grouped like this. How this happens is it will check the common values like this. Let's say in customer type, it is trying to group the common values. Now this will become one group. Then suddenly it will go here. Now this is a separate entity, so it will group this one. Then again it will go here till the common values are available. It will be keep grouping. So based on this common values what we have, the similar values, so it will be keep grouping. So once it is finding that the next value is not matching, then it will group this one until it is matching. Now this is called as grouping and outline and creating the subtotal. Fine. Next one is text to columns. Text to columns is actually a commonly used option in Excel. Why? Because whenever people are working on, say, datas, huge datas, mostly the data will be coming in text file or CSV files. The reason is the file size can be reduced. Let's say I'll go here. I'll take one of the files. Let's say this raw data sales. Let me click on this. I have a sales data here and I have the data something like this. This is very difficult to read because here I can see some data, some text here, and again some numbers. So it is like it's a data which we won't understand. So how is this actually aligned, or say what actually is this data? Whenever you have the data in text file or CSV file, CSV file means comma separated values. When I see this text file, I don't have any columns, I don't have any rows, but still these will be actually stored as columns and rows. How? If you see this, after the text there is one comma, then again here after this text there is one comma. This comma actually acts as the column separators, and technically they are called as delimiters, a character which will actually separate a value or a text, that is called as delimiters. These characters can be anything. It can be comma, or it can be a semicolon, or it can be space, it can be a tab, or anything. So depending on the data what we are extracting from other sources, so it depends on what character I'm using there to separate the columns. Now let's assume that I have a comma separator here. Now we'll try to take this, the complete data or say complete file, into Excel sheet, and we'll convert this data, the text, into columns. Let me just close this. So what you have to do is, let's say I'm in a Excel say application. We just go here, drag this file, select this, drag it like this, and then just drop it in my Excel sheet like this. Anywhere in the Excel sheet, just drop it. Now what will happen? The entire data, whatever is there in the text file, that will be taken into Excel sheet. Now if you see this, the data is there in a single column like this. But you can see that there is a comma separator. Let me zoom this. See, there is a comma separator for every, say, text or say numbers or whatever. In some places there are only commas. That means there are no value in the middle. How to convert this into a columns with the data which is actually matching with the Excel? Let's select the data like this. Just select, how to select, Control Shift down arrow. Now I'll go to this data. Here I have an option, text to columns. Let me select this text to columns, and here it says delimited. Delimited means this file what we saw, the text file, is delimited. Delimited means it is separated by a character. Now if I say next, it will ask how is this file delimited. That means which character is being used to delimit. Let me go here and I'll say comma. The file what we have taken into Excel is actually delimited by comma separator. I'll say next, and then I'll get all the columns like this based on the character which I specified here, that is a specified comma. I can see that the columns are separated. Now I'll say finish. The entire data, wherever the comma is there, that will get separated. And you can see this, there are some blank values here. That is because there were multiple commas there, that means the data was not available. They are blank values. Now this is how I can separate the columns which the data is in text file. So same thing applies to your CSV file also. CSV file is very similar to this, but guys, keep in mind, whenever I am actually saving a file, Excel file, into text file or CSV file, let's say I have a sheet here, do not have multiple sheets. Let's say I have two sheets. Now suppose if I'm trying to save this as CSV file or TXT files, do not have multiple sheets, because in TXT file or CSV file it can hold only one sheet. Now let's say I'll go here, I'll say save as, and here let's say I'll give a name here, sample data. Okay, I'm trying to save it in the same folder. I'm saying it as TXT, or let's say CSV, anything is fine. So CSV comma delimited. Now if I'll say save, say okay, let's go and check there, sample data. Now if I open this, let me just open this. Save that properly. Let me just go here and save it again. Sorry, CSV file. Selected point does not support workbook that contain multiple sheets. Okay, so it is having multiple sheets, so it is actually taking it as a normal Excel file only. Okay, so let me show you with text file also. The text tab limited. So here also I'll say sample data text. Say save. See, selected file does not support workbooks that contain multiple sheets. Okay, so you might lose the second sheet data, so please be very careful while saving this into different formats. See, I may get only one sheet here because text file will have only one sheet. So here this is actually saving it as Excel only, or see, now it opened. If you go and check this, see the sample data what you have here is taking only one sheet. So please be very careful when you are saving this in CSV or text format, because you might miss the second sheet data. So this is what is data tools. The data tools means you're just trying to work on data so that you can consolidate, or say you can work on data so to append the data, or say get the aggregated values or something. All right. Next one is validation. I have done so many things here. Say I have written some formulas, I've taken some data and I've formatted it, or I'm giving my template to some people where they enter the data. But the problem is when I'm entering a data, the data should be proper. Proper in the sense, say in a number column, I should have only number data. Say for example, I'm trying to save age of a person, then I should have only age there. Suppose if I'm actually trying to save date, so I should have only date in that column. Suppose if I'm trying to save, say, some name, so only text has to be there in that column. And again, when it comes to text, it should have this many number of text. Or sometimes I have a list where I should have exactly the list, whatever is mentioned, only that has to be selected there. In that case, this validation plays a very important role. Let's take one template here. I want to enter some data in this template, but the person who is entering here, or say the template, whoever is using this, should not enter the data, that is, should not enter invalid data. So in that case, how will I actually do? Let's go and see. So here I have some columns. I want to use these validations. Here I have a date, the column which accepts date. Here I should enter only date. And again, the date should be such a way that it should be either today's date or greater than today's date. That means this template, what I have here, is a template which is for booking, say, some tickets or whatever. I want to enter the data here where the date should be of today's date or greater than today's date, not the previous date. Let's go and say 1st Jan, say 1st Jan 2020. It is allowing me to enter. Wherein my condition is this should not accept 1st Jan 2020 if I enter, or even if it is 24th May 2020 also. How to do this? So what we'll do is we'll go to this data. Here I have this data tools, something called as data validation. If you click on this, I have this data validation. This data validation option validates your data while you're entering. Let me just select this. When I select this, I'll get a window. Here I have three tabs: settings, input message, error alert. So what this will do, I'll explain you. First thing is, any sheet you create in a workbook, the validations will be any value. That means you can enter any value. So that is how you can enter anything in that sheet. But again, I can specify saying that, okay, it should enter only numbers or text or whatever. Now let's say I'll go here. I want this date, but the date should be today's date or greater than today's date. Let me select this date. When I click on this date, that means now I can enter only date, and here I have an option what date I need to enter here. My requirement is greater than or equal to. That means greater than or equal to today's date. I want my template to work even tomorrow or say day after tomorrow whenever I open. So it should take that day's date and greater than that day's date. So for that, what I'll do, instead of mentioning it 25 May 2020, this will become a hard coded date. Tomorrow if I open, what will happen? I can still enter 25 May. So tomorrow I should not be able to enter this 25th May. So what I'll do, I'll say today, open bracket, close bracket. So this today will give me today's date. So tomorrow if I open this template, still it will take tomorrow's date only because I given the formula today. I'll say okay. Alright, now let's go here and I'll type this 1st Jan 2020. See, it will not allow me to enter now because I have restricted that cell saying that you cannot enter the data, the invalid data. Say cancel. Let's say 24 May 2020. Let's see. It is not taking. Let's say 25th May 2020. Yes, it is taking. That means my validation is right. Let me enter one more invalid data. Say 2 Feb 2020. It is not allowing me. Now, if you go and check the message, it says this value does not match the validation restriction defined for this cell. I don't know what validation I've given. It is just giving me a generic error message. What I'll do is I'll try to give a specific message here. That is a customized message so that it will be easy for any user who are using this template should know that, okay, here I need to enter the date, either today's date or greater than today's date. Now what I'll do, I'll go here, say cancel. Let me select this again. Go to this data validation. Here I'll go to this error alert. Here I'll have this three different options. Say stop. This will stop the process. That means I cannot enter the data at all if I'm entering invalid data. Say warning. This one will give me a message. It's saying that you are trying to enter a wrong data. It is like a warning message. Here you have two options. One is you can either enter the data, invalid data, or you can just skip it. When I say information, this is another alert, but this what it will do, it will not throw any error. So it will say that what data you're entering is invalid. That's all. It'll just give me an information and it will allow you to enter the data. But when you feel that you have to restrict the data, please go to this stop. This will stop. It will not allow you to enter the data. Now let's go here. I'll say date. I'm giving a title here. Otherwise, it will say Microsoft Excel as my date. The heading. Error message. I'll say please enter today's date or greater than today's date. I'll say okay. Now let me enter some invalid data. Say March 20. See, please enter today's date or greater than today's date. So here it says retry. If I say retry again, it will go here, but still it will not allow me. But what if I would have given a warning? Say data validation. Suppose if I give this warning and say okay, now let me enter 2020. See, please enter today's. Is giving me a message saying continue. If I say yes, it will take the data now. See, right? Information. Let's go here. Data validation. Let's change this to information. Same thing. Now let me enter. See, it's like a information. That's all. Please enter today's. It's just an information. If I say okay, it will take the data. So you have to decide what kind of alerts I need to give. Right. Let me select this. Say data validation. Now whatever alert I'm giving here, this is coming after I enter the data. That means when I do a mistake while entering the data. But let's say, what if the error message or say the instructions are given before entering itself. That means before entering only I'll come to know that okay, I have to enter today's date or greater than today's date. Now what's happening here is it is giving me the message after I insert the data. So if you want to get the message before in hand, before entering the data, I'll go to this input message and I'll put the same message here. If you want, you can put any other message also. I'll go here, I'll give a title and I'll say okay. See now, if I go here, just click on this cell. See, before entering itself, I'll get the data here saying please enter today's date or greater than today's date. So that user can go and enter the data. So this is one way of validating data. Let's come to this. Name. Here I want to enter text, but here I want to enter such a way that the number of characters whatever is there should be minimum character should be 3 and maximum 20, not more than that or less than that. Let me go here. I'll say data validation. Go to this settings. Here I'll say text length. When I say text length, it will ask me the options. I'll say between 3 and 20. Here also have many options, say greater than, less than, whatever. So my requirement was the number of characters should be 3 and up to 20 characters. I'll say okay. Let me go here. I'll just type A and I'll say enter. See, it will not allow. If I go here and say AA, it will not allow. Now if I go here, see, it will take. So suppose if I type something very big like this, it will not take. So here also I can restrict it by entering the data. Next one, age. Let me select this. I'll say data validation. And here I'll go and I'll say whole number. Let's say I want the age to be from 25 to 60. Say between, I'll say 25 and 60. No number should be entered less than 25 or greater than 60. I'll say okay. Let me go and I'll enter 5. It will not allow. Say 89. It will not allow. Now let's say 29. Yes. Right. Let's scroll down here. I have a list of group names here. So I want to enter the names only within these list. Now let's say here I have this yoga. So some people might type yoga like this, or some people like this. So this is invalid data, but this is a valid data. So everyone who is entering, so it should enter with this characters only. Sometimes let's say I want to create a report. Some people will enter ITAS or say iTech, or some people will say iTech Analytics Solutions. All three names are same company, but while taking the reports, what will happen? It will give me a different reports, so which is not correct. So what I'll do, I'll go here. Let me select this, and I'll say data validation, and here I'll select list. Here it will ask for source. You can select the source and say OK. If I go here, now I'll get the list, and I can select this list like this. So I'll go here, I'll say yoga, still it is fine. Now if I go here and type this yoga, it will not allow. So this is how I can validate. Now what will happen? So sometimes here I have some invalid data which I've already entered. I have already entered the data, but I need to know which are invalid data. Here if you see, my date was supposed to be today's date or greater than today's date. Here there is one invalid data. So what I'll do is, let me select this range, and I'll go to this data validation. Here it says circle invalid data. So if you click on this, so wherever the data is invalid, this will be circled. Let me go here, and I'll say, here I'll say the date. Just copy the same thing and I'll paste it here. Paste it here like this. So you can select, you can check if there are any invalid data as well. Now if you go and check this circle invalid data, this is actually taking, because this also has taken that value, otherwise this will not come. So wherever the range is there, so you can specify that. If you want to remove those circles, just say clear validation circles like this. So like this you can give the validation so that the template is validated and you can enter only the right values, or say the user whoever is actually entering the data should have the knowledge of entering only the right data, so that it will be easy for me to analyzing the data, right? Okay. The next one is about the pivot tables. I'll come to this comments and printing techniques later. Let's come to this pivot table. I'll take one simple pivot table now. A very simple pivot table we'll create, and then we'll create some complex pivot tables. Pivot table means it is the summarized report from a table. Now what I see here is a simple table where I have region, product, customer type, sales rep, sales, and a date. I want to create some reports. Say I want to create report based on regions. The region has to be grouped, and the aggregated values of this sales I need to get. That's all. Like what we did in consolidations. In consolidation, I was getting only one column with the aggregated values. Let me go to this insert, and I'll click on this pivot table. But few things you'll have to keep in mind. The column names should not be left blank. You can have a blank record like this, but not a blank column name like this. Right. Click anywhere in your table what we have in the range, and I'll say pivot table. Let me click on this pivot table. It will ask for select a table or range. Now automatically that will select the range. If there is no blanks or anything, it will select the entire data till wherever the data is available. Here it says new worksheet. Always keep the pivot table in new worksheet. It will be easy for you to do the analysis. I will say OK. I'll get a placeholder like this. So what you see here is the placeholder, and what you see here is the pivot fields. These are the column names of the main table here. And here I have 4 fields. This is where I can drag and drop my fields. This is the filters, this is column headers, this is row headers, and here values. So let me take this region and I can place it in row field, and here you can see it will group and it will give me the unique values here like this. Let me take this sales and I'll put it in value field. I'll get the aggregated values for the table which I've created. And you can see it says sum of sales. I can change the function here. Double click on this or click on the small arrow here. So I'll get this value field settings. I'll get these options. Either I can double click or I can click on this arrow. I'll get this option. Say if you want average, click on this. I'll get the average. Let me double click. If you want the count, say okay. I'll get the counts. So any of these functions you can select. Let me go back to this sum and I'll click on this. Now what I have here is only one column. Now let me take one more column and just put it in the row field itself. Now if you see this, it got split. The region had this value, say 4,61,763. Now it got split like this. Now if I click on this button, so I'll get the total value like this. Suppose if I remove this, see that button's filled. I still have the same value, but if you want the split by product, then I'll go here. I'll put this. Now if you click on this, see the total of these 3 products should be 4,61,763. See, just select this, and you can see the sum 4,61,763. Like this. This is for the report within this one column. Now I have this 2 different fields, but it is coming in same column. Let me take this customer type and I'll put it just below that. See now, say region, then product, and then customer type. Again, if you go and check this, the total of these 3 values will be this value, and the total of all these products will be of this main value. It's called a subtotal. Now let me click here. See, again it will come back like this. Let me remove this product and say customer type, and I'll take this product and I'll put it in column. Now this will become a matrix like this. The same data what I had when I put it here. Okay, if you go and check the see 17,000 whatever the data, if I go here and put see East Klugans is this one like this. So I can play around with these columns to create the pivot tables. It is such easy actually, but you should know what reports I'm creating. Right, let me put this product here. Now the data what I'm getting here, it is in the same column, say the region and the product. But I want this region and product to be in different columns. Why we should have in different columns, I'll show you. See, sometimes what will happen, I'm creating this report. Let me copy this and then I'll paste it somewhere here. Say paste as values. See, I'm getting this region, but I'm getting the products just below that, but I'm not able to differentiate it. Right, let me go back. How will I take this into separate columns? So don't worry. So what you have to do is, you just have to go here. You have 2 contextual tabs which will appear for this pivot table. When I click outside, see those 2 tabs will disappear. Let me click here. So I have this analyze and design. Now what we'll do, we'll go to this design. If we go to this design, so I'll have so many options here. If you can see this, see layouts, pivot table styles, or say pivot table, say different formats. Now let me select this here in this layout. I want this to be in different columns, that is the region and the product. Here I have this report layout and say tabular form. Now if you can see this, the region and product got split. They are into different columns now. Now what I see here, this is the subtotal. And if you go down, I have this grand total. The grand total can be for columns as well as rows. The grand total what I'm seeing here is for the column, that is this one. So for rows, if you want, so what I'll do, I'll go here, let me take the customer type and I'll put it in columns. If you can see this, I'll have the grand total for this customer type, that is the row wise grand total, this one, this column wise grand total. Let's say I don't want this subtotal. You just have to go here, say design, and here I have the subtotal. Let me say do not show subtotals, all the subtotals will go. Now I have this grand total, that is row grand total, and grand total for column. That also I can remove. Say I'll go here, say off for rows and columns. That will also disappear. Let me go back. I want grand total only for columns. I can still have that option. See, I want only for rows. Then I'll go here, grand total. See. If you don't want anything, I can just remove. If you want, I can still click on this. So you have a lot of options here which you can explore. Let me go here. I'll say no grand total, off, gone. Now let me copy this. Now if you put it here, so they'll have different columns data. Let's say I'll paste it as values. Fine. Now I got a report like this, wherein I have region, and also I have this column with customer type. But if you see here, I have some blanks here like this. I want to fill this. Let's say I'll go here, say Control D, Control D. That is, I'm just trying to make a copy of it, and I'm trying to fill this. You don't have to do this manually. So what should I do? Let me go back. Here I have the blanks, which says this is a group, or we call it as pan. How to fill this? So for that, again I have option. Go to design, go to report layout, repeat all items. Click on this. See, automatically these blanks, whatever is there, which is related to this pan, that will get filled. Not only for this column, you can actually fill it for this column as well. Let's say I'll take the sales rep and I put it here. See the glue guns for this one. Let me just go here and I'll say do not repeat items here. Now I have this yeast which are blank, and say the product which are blank here. If you want to fill this, go to this report layout and say repeat all items. They'll get filled like this. Let me remove this. These are some of the layouts. Now suppose if you want to change the style, the predefined style, see, you can select any of this. So you don't have to go sit and keep formatting it. You can just select one of this. And here I have this style options. These are all for formatting. Let me go here, say row headers. So here it will become bold. That is, I'm trying to highlight it. The column headers, again this will become like normal table. Suppose I have only row headers, or you can just try this. Banded rows, that is alternative rows. See, like this. Banded columns like this. Let me remove this. See, alternative columns like this. That is just trying to shade it. Fine. This is about the formatting. Let's go to this analyze tab. This has got a lot of options, and this will impact your reports as well. That is, it will have a major impact on the reports. So what are those? I'll just tell you. Now we saw how to create this simple pivot table. Then we saw how to actually drag and drop the fields here, and we did a lot of things. But what if the data get increased? The table what we have created here, this is for the data what we had till here, say up to 3457. Let me go back to this pivot table. If you want to check that, go to this analyze. Here I'll have change data source. If I click on this, here it says 3457 row number. Let me go and check this. So we had that till 3457. That means it is fixed. Let me add some more data. I'll go here. Let's say I'll add some more data. I'll scroll down and I'll paste it here. Here I'll say Northeast. Let me copy this down. Now the data got increased up to 3613. Let me go here. I'll say refresh. Still I'm not getting northeast here. If you want to get, I'll go to this analyze, change data source, select this. Now I need to increase this 3457. I just select this till bottom like this and say okay. Now I'll get this northeast. Let's say I'll increase the data some more. Just copy this data and I'll try to increase this. Let's make it as something like this. Now if you go here and if I say refresh, see, I will not get. The reason is again I have to go here and change the data source. Every time I cannot keep doing this. So how to actually make it dynamic? I'll show you how to make it dynamic. Let me go here, remove this extra data as of now. I'll just delete this. Now let me go back to this. Now if I say refresh, again there is a problem here. It is blank because I had taken some extra rows. So how to solve all these problems? Go back to this data. Just convert this into table. How to convert? I'll show you. Go to this insert. Here I have something called as table, or you can say Control T. Let me click on this table. It will ask something like this. It will say my table as headers. I'll say okay, so that I'll have the headers here. Make sure that the header, all the columns will have the column headers. Say okay. Right. Now what I'll do is I'll create one more pivot table. Insert pivot table. So if you see this, now it is asking for table 1. Previously it was asking for a range. I can rename this table if you want. You can rename this. Go to this design. Here it says table 1. I'll say TBL data. It's a good practice of renaming the table. Let me go to this insert. Now if I say pivot table, see, it says TBL data. Now let me say okay. A new pivot table is created in a new sheet. Now let me just simply take this region and I'll take this sales. Fine. I got the result here. Now let me add some more data here, like what I did, just to confirm whatever we have done is dynamic. I'll just copy this data, paste it here, name it as northeast, and copy this data down. Now I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to change this. Say here I'm not going to change this change data source. Just I'll go here and I'll say refresh. See, fine. Let me go here. I'll add some more data. Copy, paste, and here I'll say northwest. A new region has been added. Now I'll go here. See, again I'll just right click and say refresh. See, so you don't have to again and again go and keep saying that change data source. So this is how actually you can make the pivot tables also dynamic, and it's a good practice actually. Anyways, this table again I'll show you with complex or say advanced pivot tables. Before that we'll learn some more things. Now let me just go here. I'll remove this extra data or let it be, no problem. Next is about the slicers. Why the slicers are used and where it can be used effectively, I'll show you. Let me close this pivot table field for some time. We need some extra space here. Here I have one table. So what I'll do is, let me just go here, say right click, show fields. We'll take this region and I'll put it in filters here. That is page filter. Now the entire table will be filtered by using this. I'll take a product and I'll put it here. Here I have one pivot table with the main filter, that is the filters, wherein I can filter something like this. Let me take one more pivot table. I'll just copy this and I'll just put it just below this. Here also have some main filter. So instead of product, I'll take this customer type. So if you see here, I have two pivot tables. One is for the product, other one is for customer type. Let's say I'm trying to do one report for South. I'll say okay. This table got changed. Now this also has to get changed to South. I'll say South. Let's say now I want the report for West. I'll say okay. But here this is not getting changed. Again, I have to go here and manually change this. So if I'm creating report, say for product or say customer type, and I'm trying to change this region, every time I have to change all the pivot tables which I've created. I have only two tables, fine, I can do it. What if there are some 10 tables like this which has to get refreshed? So for this, what we'll do is we have an option called as slicer. This slicer is nothing but it's a kind of filter which will help me in dynamically filter all the pivot tables simultaneously, and also it is easy to use, and it is something like a fancy kind of buttons what we have, which can be used for creating a dashboard without writing macros and without using lot of formulas. How to do that, how to create that, how does it look? I'll show you. See, select anywhere in any of the pivot tables. See, if I'm clicking outside, I'll not get the option. So don't get surprised saying that I'm not getting that slicer option or any pivot table options here. You have to select the pivot table, then I'll get this, go to analyze. Here I have this insert slicer. I'll click on this insert slicer. I'll get one window like this. It'll ask on which field I need to apply the slicer. Let me just click on this region and I'll say okay. Here I can see a buttons like this. Let me just put it somewhere here. I'll say east. So here it's getting filtered like this. Fine, it is working. But my requirement was to filter all the pivot tables. That is why we created this slicer. But here if I see, I can see only this pivot table is getting filtered. This is not getting filtered. So how to connect this? So when you're actually creating any slicers like this, either create the slicer and then copy and paste the pivot table so that the link will automatically get generated, or if you already created a pivot table and then if you want to connect it, so don't worry, just right click on this pivot table, or you can go to this options. Here I have this report connections. One is you can go to this options and say report connections, or right click and say report connections. When I say report connection, all the pivot tables within this workbook will be listed down here with the sheet name here. See, if I have any pivot table in other sheets also, I can filter here. So let me go here. I'll say pivot and I'll say okay. Let's say okay. Now let me just click on this. See, now both the tables are getting filtered. You can see that even this main filters. Now I don't want this. Let me remove this. I'll go here. I'll try to remove this. Now see, like this. You can have multiple say slicers as well. I'll go to this pivot table, say analyze and say slicer. Let me take the sales rep. Say okay. Say east in east for this sales rep. Can you see that only this is getting changed? Again, right click, report connection. I'll say like this. See? So this is actually slicers. Similar to slicer, I have something called as timeline. What this timeline will do is this will actually be used for date, working on date. Select this. See, Only for dates it can work. Timeline. See, this is in January, February, or I can go here and I can also use this, say, years, say in 2008 or 9, a complete year. Suppose if you want in months, I can go here, I can select this month. This is something like slicer, but it will work only for date. Now here also, right click, it's the report connection, and connect this pivot table. Now if you go and click on this, see. So this is actually the slicers and some basic pivot table options. Right. Let me open one more file here. Let's say I have one file here. Let me just double click on this. I have a data here, but the data is in different sheets. I want to create a pivot table out of these different sheets. What I saw the pivot table here was on a single sheet. The data is there, I just created. But what if I have the data in multiple sheets? So in this case, one way is I can bring all the data, the related data here by putting VLOOKUP or copy paste or whatever in one table and then create the reports. But that is, before 2013, we didn't had any options like that to connect each other. So we used to use VLOOKUPs or something and get the data into one sheet and then create the reports. But now we have an option where we can create pivot tables by multiple sheets as well. How to do that? Let me show. First thing what I should do is convert the table which you need to convert the data into table which you are trying to connect each other. Let me go here, say insert, I'll say table, like what we did in our previous table. Just say okay. As soon as I create this, it will ask for the table name. I'll say TBL, I'll say main. I just named it as main table. If you go to this department, can you see this? I have this department ID here. Similar to that, I have department ID here and department name. I'll say insert and say table. So my table has headers. I'll say okay. And here I'll say TBL TEP. Account details. Let me select this. Here, this account number, whatever is there, that is there here. Account number. So I should have one field to connect. Let me go to this account details. Say Control T is the shortcut key, or you can go to the insert and select there. Say okay. Right. Now I created this three different tables, and I'll name this as TBL. Say enter. Then these three sheets will try to connect, so you can use these things also and try to do the same thing. Now what I'll do, I'll go here, I'll try to create one pivot table. So I'll go here, I'll say pivot table. Here I'll take the table name. So all the options are same, but what I'll do is I'll say add this data to data model and say okay. When I say okay, so what will happen is the data model is ready, which will help me in creating the pivot table. So this will take little time because it has to model your data. Right. Now if you see this, it is a pivot table similar to what we had this one. See, similar to what pivot table we had, same thing, but here we have slight changes here. See, I can minimize this and maximize this like this, all the fields. Right. So I can see only one table, that is this table what we have created here. But I want all the other tables also which we have created. Now what I'll do is, see, it says active. That is what I've created the pivot table on the main table. Here I have something called as all. Let me click on this all. See, I'll get all the three tables. Now I need to connect each of them. So what we'll do, we'll go to this analyze. Here I have something called as a relationship, which will help me in creating the relationship. Select this. I'll say new. select the main table, and here I should select the column on which I'm connecting other tables. Let's say department. I'll go here, I'll take this department table, and here I'll say department. Now the main table department column will get connected with department tables department column. Say OK. A connection is created. Let's say one more connection for accounts. Again, I'll select this main table, then I'll say account number. Here in this account table, I'll say account number. So I'm just trying to connect this so that I'll get the similar connection or say similar data which will get connected and I can create the pivot table. See, now the relationship is created between these three tables. Next is similar to what I had created. Say I'll go here. I want say the department name. I'll just take this department. You can see the department ID here. Or if you want the amount, I'll just take the amount and put it here. Now this is from one single table what we have taken. But I want the department name from this table. Let me remove this department and I'll take this department name. Now what you see the department here, this is coming from department table. What the values we can see here, that is coming from the main table. Now if you want this account name, I just take this and put it in column like this. See, so I can play around with any number of tables here by creating the relationship. The creating of reports is similar to the other tables what we learned, that is pivot table. But the connection is what you should learn, that is if I have multiple sheets, how to connect. It is very simple. First step, convert this into table. I go into this insert and say table. After connecting, then create one pivot table by selecting that data modeling, add this to data modeling, and then go to analyze and create this relationship. Done. That's it. Rest all, you're just trying to drag and drop the data and everything. So I'm drag and dropping the columns here and every options whatever is there, that is similar to what we are doing with the pivot tables. So this is one thing which we also call it as power pivots, wherein I can connect multiple tables here and then I can do the say pivot table reports. All right. Next one is about the charts. So charts, actually there are some basic charts which I think you guys would have already worked, but I have taken few other charts for you guys so that you can learn something more from this. So these things I have a separate videos also in my YouTube channel. I'll just send you the channel address so that you can check there, but still I'll explain you all this so you can understand. Say the basic charts, you guys know about the basic chart, that is column chart, bar chart, or whatever. So similarly, I'll just quickly explain these things so that you guys can understand. So I'll not waste much time here. Let's take more time in the advanced charts. So I have say a data something like this, wherein I need to compare different companies or say different entities. Then I can use a column chart. Go to insert. I'll say a column chart like this, or a bar chart like this. The difference between bar and column is column chart is vertical, bar chart represents horizontal. So same data actually. If you want to modify, just select this. Here I have this plus mark. To go here, I can select any of the options, whatever I need. Say I need access titles, I can go here and I can click on this. If you want the data labels, if I click on this, I'll get right. If I have similar kind of data, I can also create pie chart like this. The difference between these two charts and pie chart is I'll not have axis values here, that is y-axis and x-axis. It is a circle, it is divided by each values whatever I have here. So if I have any data like this with one series, either I can create a column chart, bar chart, or pie chart. Let's go to this stacked. Stacked are actually created when I have multiple series like this. Let me just create one chart, insert, I'll say column chart. So what you see here, this one is a clustered column chart or side by side chart. wherein the series are actually plotted side by side. But I want this to be like a total of all the years. I want the total, and I want the split as well, like what we have here. So for that, I'll be using something called as stacked chart. Let me go here. I'll say stacked. So if you see this, here I have the total. If you see here, it is actually not giving me the total. It is giving me individual values here like this. So 19,713. Then here it says 5,156. Then here it says 17,621. But if you see here, it is adding all these three, and then it will give me this complete total. But in that, it is giving me the split. So the total of this is something 42,490 is here, 42,490. But in that, it is just trying to split these values. So this is called as stacked. Same thing I can do for bar chart as well. Suppose if you want to represent something like this, see, bar stacked. But here I cannot create pie chart. The reason is pie chart can take only one series. Either I can create pie chart like this with this series, or I can create pie chart only for this, like this. Right. Coming to this line chart. Line chart are actually used for creating a trend chart. Trend means, suppose if you see here, I have 4 companies and I have some data from January to December. Let me select this. I'll say insert, and here I'll say line. So I'll get a line chart like this. So here it is showing me the trend like this. So whenever you have a data which is of date or a period, then try to use this line chart, which will actually show me the flow of the data. But here, suppose if I have more companies or say more series, this looks very congested. So for that, we have something called as spark lines. Spark lines are actually in cell chart. So what is this in cell chart? I'll tell you. I'll select this data, say only this data. Go to insert. Here I have the spark lines. I'll select this line chart and I'll say location here. Say okay. See, I'll get the chart here within this cell itself. But here the disadvantage is I'll not get the axis values like what I have in this line chart. The same chart what you see here, that is actually plotted here. Say for Bayer, if you see here, see Bayer is blue. See this one. So if you see this, see this line, whatever is there, that is actually plotted here. So in each cell, the chart is plotted, say for one line like this. So this is called as spark lines. You can change this to column chart as well. Let's say I have these options here, design, and here I have this column. So this will be converted to column. I can increase this, see, like this. So whatever I have this 12 points, so I can see here like this. But the thing is, as I told you, here I'll not have the axis values. Fine. Next one is about the combination chart. Combination means I'm combining more than one chart. So here, if you see the data, this is in thousands. And what you see here is in percentage. So if you have anything like this, if you want to plot the chart in a different series, say if I'm selecting this and if I'm creating a column chart, see, I cannot see the growth or say increase, whatever is there, the growth, because it's in percentage. If I convert this into percentage, it will be like 0.06 or something. So what I'll do is I'll go here, select the chart, right click and say change series chart type. If I select this, see, I'll get one window like this wherein I can change the chart type. Here it says sales, which is clustered column, and increase, which is in percentage. I'll go here and I'll say there should be a line chart. If you can see that line is coming somewhere in the bottom. But what I'll do is I'll give a dedicated access for this. I'll convert this into secondary access. When I click on this, what will happen is, see, I'll have one more separate access for this line. So this is called as secondary access. So like this also you can do. So this is some basic options what we have in say Excel charts. Using these charts, I can create more other charts like this. Let's say I want to create a butterfly chart. This is nothing separate chart. This is, see, a kind of what is this? Say stacked bar chart. How to create this is very simple. These are all some representations. Say, copy this. I'll just paste it here somewhere. So you have this questions. I want a butterfly chart like this. That means how many are S should be towards my left hand side, how many are no that should be in right hand side like this. So what I'll do, I'll go here. Anytime if you want to create some charts like this, you need to have a dummy data. Dummy data means a separate data. So how to create that? See, if you go here, just move this, see, you created a separate table here. So let me go here, I'll show you how to do that. Let me copy this and I'll paste it here. Right. The first thing is the blank value is what you see here. For this, I'll go here, I'll say, just say series 1. Say 1000 minus this. So why I'm giving this 1000 minus this is so that I'll get some blank values like this one. And here this will be S. Say equals this, and I'll say enter. Same values I'm taking there. And you see this in middle, I have some blank. So for that, what I'll say, blank, I'll take some 350 or whatever. You can take how much ever you want. Say I want 500, you can still take 500 here. So any values you can take so that keep everything same so that you'll get similar kind of blank values here. And next one is no. Say equals this one, enter. I'll copy this down. I just created some dummy series here, that is values. Select this, insert, and say bar stacked. That's all. See. Now what we'll do, we'll go here, select this, and say Control 1. I'll get the formatting access here like this. And here it says categories in reverse order so that this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is plotted like this will come like this. Now select this series and I'll say fill, no fill. Select this and say no fill. Remove the grid lines. Select this grid lines. Remove. See. And remove this legend if you want to see. And you can put some labels like this here so that I'll get this butterfly chart like this. So here if you see, I'm not used any advanced charts. Here I've used the same chart what we learned here, that is bar stacked chart. Here, this one. The only thing is the alignment what we did, that was little tricky, that's it. So whenever you're creating any charts, don't think that they are all advanced. It's just that how you're actually plotting the the data. Let's go to this conditional formatting in charts. In some of our sessions, in one of our sessions, we learned about how to create conditional formatting for cells. What if I want to give a conditional formatting for the chart itself? In Excel, we don't have any options like this, wherein I can do conditional formatting on charts. If you want to do that, so how we can do is here, I've taken again a kind of dummy series here. The requirement is if the values are less than or equal to 500, then it should be blue color. If it is between 500 and 1000, it should be of red color. Any value which is greater than 1000 should be of green color. But if you have this, data, and if you plot the chart, what will happen is I'll get only one series values like this. Say insert, and if I insert a column chart, see, every time I cannot go and keep changing the bars by colors. So what I'll do, I'll create one more table like this, wherein I'll have different series. So how to do this? Let me just show you. I'll put it here. Now I'll say equals this. Let me drag it. Now here what I'll do, I'll say less than or equal to 500. That is one series. Then I'll say greater than 500 and less than or equal to 1000. And one more, say greater than 1000. So three series I have created here. I'll write a formula saying that equals if this value is less than or equal to 500, then take this value. Else I'll say NA and close the bracket. Now if I copy this down, wherever the values are above, say less than 500 or equals to 500, then that will come in this series. Now let's take this. So equals if and this value is greater than 500, comma, this value is less than or equal to 1000, then I'll say take this value. Else I'll say NA. I'll tell you what this NA will do. See, if the value is between 500 and 1000, that will come in this series. Now any value, say if this value is greater than 1000, then take this value, else NA, like this. Now if you see this formula, this value will fall in any one of these series only, because that is how I actually written the formula. See, if the value is less than or equal to 500, it will go here. If it is above 500, again it will go and sit here up to 1000. Anything above 1000, it will go and sit here. So after creating this formula, let me select this data, insert, I'll go here, I'll just say stacked bar chart. That's it. If you go and select here, see, automatically I'll get this chart. The reason is, if you go and check here, see, I'll just change this 400. Here I'll say again 400. And if I change this manually 400, see, I'll have a stack here. But if I say NA, if the value is not matching, say that if the condition is not matching, so what will happen is this plot, whatever is there, that will not be taken. You see here it says NA, that means I'll not get the chart. Some people have the habit of giving 0, never give 0. See what will happen if I give 0 instead of NA. So I've seen some people, they'll say 0 here. So what will happen is, here you might get, say 0 is also value. Let me go here, I'll say 0. Usually when we plot this line chart, we'll know that here it's a column chart, so we'll not find that difference. But if it's a line chart, what will happen? The value will be plotted here like this, because that is a 0. So make sure that you'll make it NA so that the plot, whatever is there, the series will not be generated there or say plotted there. So this is one more trick of using this chart, that is conditional formatting chart. Right. Next is, let's say I have this interactive chart. So now if you see this, see, I have a chart here wherein I have a stacked chart. But suppose if you go and click on this, see, if you want this sales, only sales will come. If you say profit, then I'll get this profit. I don't want this profit percentage, something. So you can use the controls here and also you can create the chart, these controls. So how to create this chart? It's again very simple actually. Let me just copy this. And again, all these charts you can go and check in our YouTube channel. You'll get most of the the interesting charts like this. But again, I'm just showing you how you can use the basic charts and create these kind of interactive charts. Now I have this data. So what I'll do is I'll create one more table here like this. Let me delete this. So what I'll do is I'll create the checkboxes like this. Let me go to this developer and here I'll say insert. Here I have this checkbox. Let me click on this checkbox. I'll create three checkboxes. Say 1, 2, and 3. I just copied and pasted. Select this and let's say this one as sales. And then here I'll say profit. And this one percentage profit. Right. Now if I click on this, see whether it is selected or not. Right click, format control. I'll say cell link. I'll click here. Say OK. So what the cell link will do, see, true or false, whether it is selected or not. Let me select this, format control, select here and say OK. See, right click, format control, and here I'll select and I'll say OK. See, that means if I'm selecting this, only this sale should come. See here, if I'm not selecting this profit, the profit should not be there. If I'm not selecting this profit percentage, the profit percentage should not be there. So whatever I'm selecting, that should get plotted here. So here, the true or false will decide whether the chart should get plotted. So what I'll do, let me copy this heading and I'll put it here. Now here the value, I'll say equals if this value, I will fix only the row, not the column, equals true, then take this value, else NA, enter. Now let me copy this throughout and let's make this as percentage. Here I'll convert this into percentage. Now let me click on this, see, it says NA because it is false. Let me click on this profit percentage, see. Now create a chart. Let me go here, insert, and I'll say stack chart. Right. I got a stack chart. Now let me click on the sales. See, let me click on this percentage. The percentage is very small. That is, percentage profit is very small. So remember, few minutes back, we actually discussed about the combination chart. Now what we'll do, this percentage, will make it into secondary axis. Right click, change series chart type, and here the profit percentage, I'll convert this into secondary axis and we'll make this as line chart. Save. See, that's it. So likewise, there are these charts which you can actually, you know, explore it. So these charts are actually completely based on the charts what we discussed here: column chart or bar chart or line chart, the combination chart. Using these basic charts, I can create, different kind of charts. There are so many interesting charts which we have created. So I'll be sharing that link also with you. You can just go through that as well. Right. Next is about the comments and printing techniques. Let's go to this comments. You guys would have already worked on these comments, but I'll tell you what is this comment. I have a table here. Let me just move my cursor here. See, I'll get some image like this. I want to create something like this. This is used by creating comments. Now let's say I'll go here, right click, and here I have something called as new note. This is for text, just a text. Move my cursor here, see, I'll get a text. But if you want an image, right click, new note. Now what we'll do, let me take the path of this, some image. So you can have images of any employees or say, you know, anything, any product. Right click, format comment. Let's go to this colors. Let me say no fill, and here I'll say no line, and we'll go to this fill effects and say picture, and here I'll say select picture. Let me give the path and say from file, I'll give the path here and select any image and say save. See, but this is again, it's based on the requirement. If you want, you can give it, otherwise you can just ignore it also. Why these comments are actually given is, suppose if you want to give some notes or something which I don't want to specify in the text like this, say in the cell, instead of wasting a lot of space here. So what I can do, I can just put it here. If I go here, I can take the value. Say for example, this cell talks about something. Just if I move my cursor here, I should get the details. So for that, I use these comments. Right. Next one is about the printing techniques, which again, you guys are very much aware of it. Say printing techniques, that is to print the data what we have. But I'll tell you a few things which you should actually keep in mind while printing the data. Say I have a data here, and you guys know that if you want to print, I'll say Control P, and I'll get the print layout here. I'll hit print and I'll get the prints. But what will happen is, sometimes you see the data here, it is very wide like this. But when I'm printing, you can see this. See, the heading is there. Now if I go next, see, the heading is gone. Let me keep scrolling it. Let me just scroll it. And if you see here, see, I have no heading on columns and no heading in the rows. If I'm printing something like this, it is really waste. I'll not know what actually is the data talking about. In these cases, what I should actually do is go to this page layout, and here I have this print titles, and then here I have this rows to repeat, columns to repeat. Let me select this. I'll say the rows to repeat, and I'll say columns to repeat. Now if I say print preview, see, I'll get the headings everywhere like this. And if you think that the data actually, it's going more shades, I can also change this to landscape like this. So depending on the kind of data what I have, I can just adjust this, the orientation, that is landscape to portrait or portrait to landscape. And you can see this, there is some space here. I can use this margins, just drag it. So I can still have something like this. Now I'll go to this page setup. It says 100%. I can still change this to 80% so that I can still reduce the number of sheets here like this. And then if you want the headers or footers, I can go to this header footer and I can put this page numbers or say file names, anything I can select here. Say for example, if you want page numbers, I can go here, click on this page number. If you want the total number of pages, I'll say of total number of pages. Say okay and say okay. See, I'll zoom this and I'll show you like this. If you scroll down, so I'll be getting pages like this. Right. Now suppose if I go to this layout and if I say view, say page break preview, here I can see how the pages are actually divided while printing. When I have a more number of sheets, say huge number of pages to be printed, you can see this, say it says page 1, page 2, page 3, that is vertically they are aligned like this. So the print will come vertically and then again it will go here, it will print. What I want is the pages to be printed horizontally like this. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4 like this. So what I'll do, I'll go to this page layout, then I'll say print titles. Here, down then over. That means first it will print vertically and then again it will go to next, say column, whatever we call it as, here it will print like this. But I want horizontally. Then select this over then down. Now suppose I say okay, see the page printing, the way of printing will change like this. You can change it to vertical to horizontal or horizontal to vertical. So likewise, you can actually take the prints. So this is nothing much which I can explain because you guys have already worked on these kind of things. So the comments and printing techniques, I'll keep it very low only because you guys would have already worked. And let me go here. I'll say normal view. We'll go to this normal. And sometimes what will happen is we get this marks here. This is called as page breaks. Suppose if you want to remove this, go to file and say options, and here I'll say advanced. Scroll down, here it says page breaks. Remove this. Then the page breaks are gone. Right? Okay. So this is what we have for